I first got into this hobby, it was really hard to decide what I actually liked, what there was on offer in the vast world of premium fidget toys. There's, at this point, probably thousands of expensive and unique fidget toys on the market. And for me, it was hard to understand what really sets them apart, what makes them different. And what I've come to find after researching hundreds of these fidget toys and buying a ton of them, playing around with them, and talking to others in the space, there's really three core mechanisms that are within fidget toys with one auxiliary that I'll show. So I'll just give a brief overview of the top four, and then I will dive into the different variations and interpretations of each of these mechanisms. So I'll start with number one, the spinner. We all know this one. This was a huge phase, at least in the United States, where everybody was using fidget spinners. But ultimately, there's a little ball bearing in there, and that lets a body spin around that axis. The second fidget mechanism is magnets. And again, magnets have been things I think most people have been interested in and playing with for a long time. If you've never played with the little rattlesnake eggs when you're younger, it's just it's a cool force that we can interact with and play with. The next, a little bit more complex mechanism that's in the premium fidget world is called the mechanical mechanism. And often this involves two ball bearings which are on springs. And you can see in the video, you can press these ball bearings down. And when you run a plate which has indentations over these ball bearings, you'll get a nice vibratory feedback in your hands and a nice sound as the ball's pressing to those indents and across that plate. So the fourth, which I mentioned as auxiliary, is a button. And so this is actually working with what's called a haptic dome switch. And I will see if I have a link. I'll put this in the description, but essentially this is a small dome of metal. It's about, I think in this one, it's a couple millimeters across. And when you press, that dome of metal clicks down and then it reforms back into shape. And it's what's used in a lot of keyboards, mechanical keyboards, or any button that you find satisfying to press. So this is the Mott Owl. And this actually demonstrates a lot of the different mechanisms we talked about. So I'm going to start with the spinner by going through a couple interpretations of the spinner. So we have a number of different spinners here. One of the most common things I'll see in spinners is this linkage. And again, this is using a magnet. So a lot of these things I'll reference the mechanisms I've already spoken about, but you can see these linkage arms are pulled in by a magnet, but when you spin, the angular momentum pulls those linkage arms out so that the spinner actually extends, and it makes a kind of satisfying click, and it's a satisfying feeling in your hand as the spinner extends and as it retracts. So the next idea that was explored with these fidgets that you'll see in a number of spinners is two bodies. And this is actually my favorite fidget spinner mechanism, where an internal body spins along with the outer body. So when the outer body is stopped, the angular momentum from the inner body allows the fidget spinner to continue onward. This is really satisfying and fun, just on the mind. And if you like physics, it's a cool example of the laws of physics. So the next iteration is the multifunctional fidget. So bearings can be placed on external plates, and you can use this as, again, magnets, magnetic slider, and a spinner. So this is cool if you want to use multiple different functions. And like I said, the Mott Owl has all of these functions. So it has a hidden bearing within the body that allows this coin to spin on top, which is, again, another cool fidget interpretation. The Nampu, again, magnets, magnetic slider, can also spin. And then we also have ring spinners, where the bearing actually fits around your ring and you can spin that on your finger. So again, there's multiple other interpretations, but these are the core ones. Those are some examples of the spinner. Now I'll get to the magnet. This is the slider, and this is the YC EDC breakthrough. You'll see a lot of sliders, a lot of different interpretations of the sliders, but this is kind of core. When we talk about magnets, there's a lot of different things you can do other than sliding. You can create something like a mechanical slider, but with magnets, where you have satisfying clicks, but the body doesn't come apart. You can spin it in a circle, kind of like a haptic coin. And here's an example of a pure haptic coin, which just spins in a circle. And the way this works is 5 magnets in a circle and a needle thrust bearing that removes the friction. So you can spin these two plates along each other. Again, the Mott Owl has one of these with, it's a little hard to see, it's a little dark tonight, but there's 6 magnets underneath this plate that allows it to spin in a circle, which is really satisfying. And there's a number of cool other magnets, which I've shown. You can see here. And also one of my favorites was, these are Zen magnets. You can also get specs, but essentially they're 2.5 millimeter magnetic balls, and they feel like putty in your hand. But magnets are really cool, and it's a big part of the premium fidget world. The last mechanism, which I think can get pretty complex, is this mechanical mechanism. So here we have a mechanical slider, and these come in many different interpretations, one of my favorite being the chalk. And the reason this is so complex is the sound and the feeling can vary tremendously based on the material used, not only for the indentation plate, but also for the ball. Here we have stainless steel ball bearings, as well as the strength of the spring. So you can switch out the ball bearings for zirconium, ceramics, plastics, tungsten, steel, any different kind of metal, titanium, and the sound and the feel and the pressure will be completely different. Likewise, you can get softer, harder springs, different coiled springs, and the plate, for example, this plate is PEEK, and PEEK is not a metal, but it sounds and feels amazing. And so there's a lot of room for customization, and even the indents. Lottie has this unique indentation mechanism, which I haven't seen on any other fidget, can make the difference in the sound and the feel. And it can turn your fidget into something that feels completely and sounds completely different. So lots of customization where in terms of magnets, you really only have the magnetic measurement scale, N52, N35, etc. With these mechanical mechanisms, you can really play around with that. And there's also a lot of different ways. So in this Mott Owl, we have obviously the magnetic coin, but we also have a mechanical one. So you have circular indents and a spring and a bearing, which you can spin this around. We also have a track. You can see the indents there. And again, same idea, it slides back and forth. And then we also have a spring back here, a spring switch. So I consider this mechanical because it's using the mechanical properties of a spring, but cool nonetheless. I'll show another interpretation, which is another one of my favorite fidgets, which is the YEDC pig ring. And you can hear there's little ball bearings in there. That's giving this really satisfying haptic click. Another cool YEDC interpretation is this YEDC pig coin, which has 2 little arms, which work on these springs. And I'll have to pull these arms back out to give this demo. But essentially, if I can flip this arm in the correct orientation, I took them out for this demo. This arm, when it clicks, will press into the indents of this ratchet. And if I can place these out, give a nice ratchet sound. So that's it for the main 3 with the auxiliary haptic coin or haptic click. button, the main three mechanisms. And I hope this was helpful. If you have questions or you see other mechanisms that I haven't mentioned in this video, please let me know. I'll be happy to discuss those. And I'm really looking forward to seeing different interpretations of all of these. I know some things like the tuning fork. Again, this is magnetic, but little basically strips of metal are used to produce sound in cool ways. This is using strips of metal, magnets, and a bearing as well. But ultimately, all these fundamentals are utilizing magnets or mechanical mechanisms or bearings to do these things. So that's kind of what separates things, and it's a really cool world. It's really cool to see these makers adding these interpretations in ways I've never seen done before. So hopefully there will be another to add to this list in the future. I love the way people are innovating in this space, and if there is, I will update this video description and create another video. But that's it for now. Again, leave any questions or comments below, and I'll try to answer as fast as I can. Thanks, y'all.